La Llorona. Hey, it's the Disenfranchised Podcast. We're that podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy, and joining me as always, the man who is physically pained by my singing, it's my co-host, Brett Wright. Hey, Brett.
Hello, Stephen.
It looks as though you've just had like a brain aneurysm. That look on your face is maybe the most pained I've ever seen you.
I both hated and loved everything you just did.
That's the sweet spot, though, isn't it?
It really is. And of course, we would be absolutely remiss if we did not bring our local shaman to the table. It is our good friend Tucker. Hey, Tucker.
Hi, Stephen. So I don't have anything clever to say. Did you notice how last week when I really loved that movie, like I had a whole thing and like stuff was involved and context and stuff. Hi, Stephen. That's all I have to say.
And then I disappeared about 15 minutes into the episode. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. It's okay. Tucker and Joseph didn't call that out 5 times throughout the course of the rest of the episode.
We did. We accused you of many hand gestures.
Wonderful. I can't wait to listen to it.
Yeah,
I haven't listened to it yet. Maybe I should.
Please do. You should. Please do. It's a good episode.
It is actually a very good episode. But just if for no other reason than just to like just see what gestures they put in your hands. Really is.
All right. Well.
But no, we are back. This is a very special episode for 2 very important reasons, gentlemen. It is our season 4 premiere. It is the first episode of our 4th season.
This is what we went with.
We're kicking it off with a whimper, guys. Look, there's a new Conjuring movie in theaters.
Who cares?
Kicking it off with a whimper. And secondly, even more damning, it's our 150th episode. This is our sesquicentennial episode.
Great. I love that.
Wow. Hooray.
And we wasted both of those things on this fucking movie. Great, Steven.
Damn straight.
You're fired from scheduling. I'll be taking that over too.
I mean, next thing you know, you're going to fire us as your co-host, and it's just going to be you talking into a microphone for several hours every week.
It's okay. I'll bring you guys on as guests.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Gee,
no
thanks.
problem.
Kicking us off our own damn podcast. But no, as we said, there is a new Conjuring film in theaters this week. So, of course, it is time for us to talk about the bastard stepchild of the Conjuring franchise. It is. Or is it? But is it? Or is it? It is?
It is.
It is.
I don't care what anybody says. It is.
We'll get into it. We are absolutely going to get into it. We are talking about what movie, Tucker? I'm going to make you say it.
We're talking about 2019's The Curse of La Llorona.
The Curse of La Llorona from 2019, directed by Michael Chavez, written by Mickey Doherty and Tobias Iaconas. Sorry for mispronouncing that name. Starring Linda Cardellini, Raymond Cruz, Patricia Velasquez, Marisol Ramirez, Roman Christou, Janie Lynn Kinchin, Sean Patrick Thomas, Tony Amendola, Irene Kang, Oliver Alexander, and many other people in significantly smaller roles. What a cast.
Sure.
Gentlemen, what a picture.
Nope.
Neither of those. Really?
Nope, not at all. Linda Cardellini. Other than that, no.
Raymond Cruz. Like that's
right.
Like a motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah.
Fair enough.
Cop one and Soldier
Patricia
in every movie. Yeah.
Patricia Velasquez as well. Anaxon Amon from The Mummy.
Thought I recognized her.
Yeah, that's what you recognize her from.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, sure.
So you got 3 pretty impressive standouts, and then just a regular who's that of
garbage
character actors.
The word you're looking for is garbage.
Can I mention just one more time because I think this is a really fun fact that Linda Cardellini plays 2 different roles in the MCU.
She does. That's true.
I think she's the only one.
No,
because she's Hawkeye's wife. and she's the otter with the arms in Guardians 3.
Yeah. So you've got, if you count the TV shows, then you've got a much wider range to go from. You've got Alfre Woodard, who plays
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
You've Alfre Woodard was in Luke Cage, but she was also in Civil War, playing two different characters.
Oh yeah, and wasn't one of the gals in Shang-Chi also two different roles?
Michelle Yeoh plays I think Shang-Chi's mom and one of the Ravager kings at the end of Guardians 2. You've got Enver Glokaj, I think is the actor's name. I'm probably butchering his name, but he plays the cop at the end of Avengers, and then he's also a series regular on Agent Carter. There's 4 that I know of off the top of my head.
2 of which aren't currently canon. So,
I mean, Agent Carter kind of is, because they put Jarvis in.
No, that's not one of them. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Luke Cage are potentially not canon.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
And for the record, if you haven't watched Agent Carter, go watch it.
In another multiverse, so.
But I suppose.
Yeah.
You guys liked Agent Carter, right?
It was fine.
It was fine, yeah.
I liked it a lot, you guys. I really wish it kind of would have kept going. I thought it was really fun.
I mean, Haley Carter is playing
wonderful, dude.
I mean, she was in the Sam Raimi Doctor Strange movie. She was in What If
as the same character, yeah.
So I mean, you know, they're finding ways to keep bringing her back. So
I love that they are, because I think they know what they have there. They just it's really hard to use it now. So they've been coming up with some really creative ways to bring her back, outside of just having her die in old age makeup and like what was it, Civil War?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, which I think was just footage they borrowed from one of the Avengers movies, honestly.
And then he smooched her daughter, man. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's some Woody Allen shit right there. Yeah. That's some Woody Allen shit right there.
It is some Woody Allen shit.
What are you doing, Cap? Come on, man. It's not the 40s anymore, man.
Ooh, even if it was.
Things are different. No more child. No, wait. That's a completely different thing. Never mind. Continuing on.
Anyway, Curse of La Llorona.
Abort. The Curse of La Llorona.
Hey.
So this is, like I said at the top, the bastard stepchild of the Conjuring franchise. When our friends over at the Pod and the Pendulum covered the Conjuring franchise, they just skipped this one. Because according to some attached to this movie, it is not a part of the Conjuring franchise, despite having a character and a very specific reference to other Conjuring films. Apparently not a part of it.
I will say this. The best way to look at it is it part of the franchise? Yes. Does it matter that it's part of the franchise? No.
No.
It doesn't add or take anything away from it. It just has a reference to it, letting you know that it's happening in the same universe.
Right. So with The Nun 2 coming out this weekend, this is the only film.
Oh, that's the one? Okay.
That's the one. Yeah. This is the only film in the Conjuring franchise that will probably never get a sequel, which is why we're covering it this week. The reason it will never get a sequel is because it honestly doesn't feel like it. It is in so many ways. It's the bastard stepchild of the Conjuring franchise because it doesn't really fit in the world created by the rest. Like everything else is very well connected, very firmly locked. And this just feels like it's its own kind of separate thing. It's out in the distance, kind of doing its own thing. And then if not for the character of Father Perez from Annabelle just showing up in this fucking movie for 2 scenes and literally mentioning a doll and getting a quick cut to Annabelle, like this would not be a part of the Conjuring franchise. So my question is, why even fucking put that in there?
Well, it feels like if the Conjuring franchise were a television series, this movie would be a bottle episode.
Yes.
You throw it in mid-season to kind of, stretch your legs a bit before you move the season plot forward.
Right. Doesn't really have anything to do with the overarching narrative. Maybe might include some characters, but
and you're never going to visit that story or characters again. This does not leave itself open for a sequel. The ending, they they poof her away. It's almost as, but not intentionally, but almost as bad as the ending of Idle Hands, where they just throw the knife and the hand's just like, okay. And that's how this movie is. She just sticks her with the cross and she's just like, and you're like, I'm like Seth Green. I'm like, is that it? No fire, no screaming, no. I mean, I'm glad everybody's okay, but that was kind of weak, you know?
Yeah, but they leave it open that they could, because it's a horror movie and that could always come back, and that's always the thing they could have done.
That's the thing with this supernatural movie. Like, Valak was pretty routinely destroyed at the end of The Conjuring 2, but you better believe we're bringing her back for the Nun and the Nun 2. So,
well, I mean,
as an unabashed Nun lover, I don't think there needed to be a sequel, because I'm pretty sure the things I loved about the original Nun are not going to be in the sequel.
Agreed.
Self-proclaimed nun lover, Brett.
I'm a nun lover. Don't you forget it.
I'll never.
I don't think we ever could anymore. Really.
Good. Don't. Just always remember.
Let
never
it be
forget.
known.
Hashtag never
Shout
forget.
Shout it from the rooftops.
I mean, Demian Bashir is my favorite part of The Nun, and I don't think he's back for the sequel. Demian Bashir?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He's in. I know he's in The Hateful Eight. If you're in Tarantino boy, he was nominated for an Oscar.
Didn't care
for the movie A Better Life, which he's phenomenal in. He's in Machete Kills. Like, he's just.
Oh, well, in that case,
he's a really phenomenal actor who I don't think has ever really gotten enough to do. But yeah, he's one of my favorites. I really enjoy him. He is not gonna be in The Nun 2, and that's a big fucking bummer.
Yeah, because I mean, he was the other main character in the original one, right?
Right.
And so they pretty much wrap up his story by tying it back to the first Conjuring movie, and that he doesn't.
Yep.
Again, doesn't need to be a sequel to The Nun, but here we are.
No, but again, that's what a franchise is: finding ways to sequelize. And we were talking about this in our "What Are We Watching" episode when we talked about the Final Destination films, which you're in the process of rewatching right now, Brett. Like you get yourself into a situation where there wasn't intended to be a sequel, but it did well enough that you feel like there's a demand for a sequel. And so you have to figure out a way to reverse engineer a sequel based on what you have. And that thing, the ending of The Nun ties so neatly into the beginning of the first Conjuring film that you don't need a sequel to The Nun, but that character is so stark and so like well appreciated by horror fans that it feels like you almost have to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Are you right? Yes. Doesn't mean I have to like it.
No, and I'm not asking you to like it. You do not have to like it.
Here's my problem with the Conjuring universe is that, and because of the lack of success of this movie, means they're probably never going to try again. But they've got what, 3 main like ghosts, demons that this franchise has worked with over 7 movies, 8 movies now. You need to branch out and give us some more supernatural shit.
Well, I think Annabelle Comes Home is your gateway to a lot of that shit, because Annabelle Comes Home is one of my favorite movies in the franchise, and it's because it's the main couple's kid and her babysitter and her friends like accidentally sneaking into the room and like unleashing just a bunch of monsters and demons. And there are like 5 or 6 different potential movies just in that like museum room that they have in their house.
Yeah.
That you could easily keep the franchise going for years based solely on what's in that room. And I've heard that they're planning on doing a sequel from another one of the villains in Conjuring 2, the Shadow Man, the guy with the big giant teeth and the hat.
I mean, stop giving us sequels.
The Crooked Man. Yeah.
You're gonna like right now. It's as if we just have Iron Man, Thor, and the Hulk with movies over and over and over. We've gotten Hulk 3 and Iron Man 4, and like this more. We need more than just these 3 things getting sequels all the time. Like, come on, please, can we have more?
Well, and that's I think I don't think that's what this was intended to be, but I think that's what the general populace saw this as. And I might as well just get into this now. So as to this movie's tenuous place within the Conjuring franchise, it features the character of Father Perez from Annabelle, who's a primary character in that narrative. He helps the family that Annabelle is cursing before she goes to the what's their faces. But the director of this film says that this is not a sequel to this is not a film in the Conjuring franchise. It's not in the Conjuring universe, despite featuring Father Perez and having a very specific, incredibly intentional, and not at all oblique reference to Annabelle, where they literally just cut to a shot of Annabelle at one point in the movie. Like, you can't deny it. It's right fucking there. And the reason he says that it is not a part of the Conjuring franchise is because Peter Safran, the producer of all of the other Conjuring films, and the guy who's working with James Gunn to basically roll out the DCU proper again, did not produce this movie. And the reason given for him not producing the movie is because it was a small, low-budget film. So apparently it was, quote, beneath him for him to even come on as a producer here. Though James Wan was a producer, but apparently without Peter Safran, it can't be an official Conjuring film, I guess, ? But Safran did give permission for Father Perez to appear in the film and for the Annabelle reference to be made. I mean, if you ask me, this film reads as a completely separate entity that became a Conjuring film when James Wan came on as a producer. Like, that's kind of what it feels like to me. And the fact that you put a character from that franchise in that movie makes it a part of that franchise retroactively. Like, you can say it's not all you want. Like, the director's like, yeah, the guy at South by Southwest when it premiered said that it was the newest entry in the Conjuring franchise, and that was his mistake. And so now everyone thinks that it is, but it's not. You can't count it. To which I say, yeah, you absolutely can and should.
Yeah, I mean, did you watch your own movie? There's a very blatant scene that I'm pretty sure is just a scene from the first Annabelle movie.
Right.
Like, this is just him coming out of the house with the Annabelle doll. Like, Did you not talk to your editor? Did you not approve that?
Right.
Why do you think that doesn't make it a Conjuring movie? What the fuck is wrong with you?
And in his mind, those were only intended to be, quote, fun Easter eggs for the fans, which no, they're not. Like, that's, if that's what you're looking for, then what you're looking for is more of like a Seth MacFarlane, 100 Ways to Die in the West. Like, Christopher Lloyd comes in and plays Doc Brown for a scene. Like, that's the kind of, like, that's a fun Easter egg, throwaway Easter egg for fans. If you don't want us to think much about it, don't make the character from the previous movie a central, important part of your film. Just don't do it.
Yeah, and don't make the lore and logic match the same sort of aesthetic that's in the Conjuring movies. Like,
because it feels like you're shoehorning it into the Conjuring franchise, but you tell me you're not doing that? No, you absolutely are. Get off your high horse and get your head out of your ass, please and thank you.
Yeah, you're telling me that you didn't want to eventually do a sequel movie with the former priest guy at the end of this film? That's like his origin story that he's alluding to in multiple scenes.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's like he used to be part of the church. Why isn't he a part of the church anymore? That feels like a sequel hook that the Conjuring universe would do to give his origin story later.
Yep. And look, I am all for Raymond Cruz like getting more work. I think that guy is an insanely good actor who he's basically played low-level heavies for his entire career. Like, he was Tuco in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He was in The Closer. Like, he just is the guy who kind of like shows up and throws his weight around and then just like, bye show. But this is like his first like starring role in a movie, and he does a good job. I like what he does here, and I would love to see more of this character. I don't like this movie, but I would love to see more of him as a character for sure.
I don't think any of us like this movie, but I would say I thought the last half hour was decent and had some good ideas, but I'll get into that later.
I would have liked it more if I could have seen it, but that's a completely different.
That is a little different. You're not wrong.
But yeah, so I guess let's talk about Brett, you and I have kind of already alluded to our histories with the Conjuring franchise, but we can get into more specifics. Tucker, what is your history with this franchise? When did you first see this movie? We know what you think of it, but like just lay it on me, man.
I've seen the first Conjuring movie because I really like Patrick Wilson, and I didn't realize that it was about the Warrens when I saw it.
That's their name. I've been forgetting it this whole time.
I went into it blind because I'll go see anything my boy Patrick Wilson is in, for real.
Sure.
Like I'm behind him all the way. He always gives a solid performance. I always enjoy everything that he's in, and he's just real easy on the eyes, you guys. Real easy on the eyes.
He's a very pretty man. Yeah.
And so I'm down. I'm downtown Doo-Doo Brown to watch anything that he's in. I watched that one blind. I realized what the subject matter was, and I just didn't really have any interest in the rest of the series. So I've never seen this film before. I watched it yesterday, and I really don't even feel like I've seen it because not only did I fall asleep for about 15 minutes of it, but as soon as it was over, I just completely forgot everything about it. Forgot that I even watched it. Today, I was walking around like, oh shit, I got to record tonight. What the fuck? Did I watch the movie? Oh, yeah. It'd take me about 15, 20 seconds to like put it all together and be like, yeah, I did watch that movie. Oh, yeah. It just like farted itself out of my brain as soon as it was over.
I mean, you're not really wrong at all.
No, a good test of a bad movie is when I can skim through parts of it and not miss anything. And I was actively skimming through the long, drawn out tension building sections, like the first time where she's walking through the house and checking doors, and it's like, there's something in the house. She has to slowly creep through the entire fucking house.
We got to pad out the runtime. This thing is a lean 93 minutes, a mercifully lean 93 minutes. Yeah, but we got to pad out that runtime, man.
It's just multiple times. I would skim through, a full 2-3 minutes at a time, not miss a thing.
I wanted to skip the stuff.
Go ahead.
I wanted to skip the stuff where they turned the victim into the villain in such a stupid way. I fucking hated that. Like, that lady, that sucks, man. Like, her kids died, dude. Children are dead.
Yep.
And then they just turn her into the villain because, oh, well, it was clear that you had no idea what was going on because I didn't fucking tell you. Whether you would believe me or not, like, she didn't explain it at all. And so our protagonist tries to save these children and unwittingly gets them killed.
Right.
And so the mother blames her.
And our protagonist didn't even give her a chance to explain. She makes a big deal that she's been working on this case and this family for years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And doesn't think this person that she's been dealing with and his family she's been dealing with for 4 years doesn't think to give her a chance to explain what's going on. Not that she would have believed her, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But like, there's not even an opportunity to be like, what's going on here? Let's sit down, let's talk through this, what's going on, like a real childcare caseworker would do.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's just, fuck it. You trapped your kids in the closet. Book them, Dano. Just, that's it.
And I mean, everyone is very oblique. And I mean, everyone in this movie is very oblique when referencing La Llorona. They always refer to her just as she. So who did this to you? She did. Your mother? No, she did. And at no point does anyone ask any clarifying questions.
Yeah, I hate
at no
it
point
when
does anyone try to understand. Yeah,
I hate when an entire plot rests upon things that could be very easily explained.
That any rational thinking human being would just like push just a little harder and figure out.
And even if it's not something that's easily believable, you have to at least try. What else are you going to do? Like, no one would be that intentionally vague when some shit like that was happening to them.
Right. And if this is a woman that you've literally known for 4 years and are vouching for in front of your other coworkers, then you're to flip on her so easily and so quickly based on, yeah. I mean, the movie's premise is tenuous at best. I think you could probably, after the scene where they're getting ready to go to school, like the moment they come out and miss the bus, you can pretty much turn this movie off. Like you've seen the best this movie has to offer.
They wasted Curtis Mayfield, my boy Curtis Mayfield. I'm glad that his estate got money for this, but you don't waste Curtis Mayfield on a shitty movie like this.
Because it's the same situation with his character later. Because I mean, you can obviously see the trajectory of this movie a mile away. You know that the same thing is going to happen to her.
Right.
They're going to think she's actually abusing her kids.
Mm-hmm.
Look, like as somebody who is known on this podcast to say, I like to turn my brain off and not figure out what's going to happen. So obvious, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, you can't.
And so, but it's the same situation later when like, it's clear that her and the detective are close friends. He comes over and brings food and they have dinner together and they talk through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he flips on her like
immediately.
You better get this shit together. I can't believe you would do this. Like,
yeah, she's right. You can't be here. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, none whatsoever. Like it, and again, the writing is not great, but again, it feels like this was made. This feels like a direct to video movie or like a direct to digital movie that, because it got the attention of James Wan, got a bigger budget and a theatrical release. Now it's still not a big budget movie. I think the reported budget on this one, where is it? It's only 9,000. Like the budget's only like $9,000.
Oh, great. We're at the numbers already. Sweet. Yes.
Sorry. 9 million. We're at 9 million. Like the budget on this one's $9 million. So it does not.
Keep talking about numbers, Steven.
No.
We're almost home.
There were no video games about this. Let's just keep it rolling.
Ice909 on YouTube. Let's go.
This is not going to be the shortest ever episode of Disenfranchised.
This is sus_warlock on social media.
Like this movie did not cost a lot, but it reads like a movie that was like probably destined for direct to digital or direct to video. Might have become a cult. Like and for that market, this is good. Like this is good for that market, and it probably might have garnered like a cult following. But you roll it out, you give it a big budget release, and you connect it to the highest grossing horror franchise of all time. It in an effort to get butts in seats, and it's still not successful on that front. Does it earn back its budget and many times over? Yes, absolutely it does. And that's really that's why horror movies are so marketable and why you get so many sequels to horror movies. Even when they're bad, they're still turning a profit. Those movies cost nothing to make. And this is a very solid example of that.
Well, I think what brought this into a big release was the two main cast members. But something that I learned from watching Ed Wood is that when you have crap and you put a star in it, it's just crap with a star.
Exactly.
And that's what this movie is. That's the only reason it's not direct to video.
Right.
Only reason.
No. And I saw a TikTok of an interview with Matt Damon recently where he's talking about like, you know, there are projects that you're in and you realize while you're in them that they're going to be shit. And so like, what do you do in those circumstances? And his is you're a professional. You go in, you do the work.
Your job. Absolutely.
And
get paid, go home.
Exactly. Like it's going to be bad. You know, it's going to be bad. There's nothing all you do is the best you can do and just hope that's enough.
You've got to Michael Caine that shit.
And that is 100% what Linda Cardellini and Raymond Cruz are doing in this movie. Like they're doing great work. Like I do not begrudge them. In fact, I wish the material were better suited to what they're doing, because they are better than the material in this movie, I would say.
Absolutely.
And it's the main reason I can't just give this film 1 star. I don't give it much more than that, but I can't just give this film 1 star because they're at least hitting above the weight class of this movie.
This movie does not deserve them, is what I'm going to say.
Not at all.
I would agree.
Not at all. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that this movie deserves James Wan's production, honestly. Like, it doesn't deserve him on board as a producer. And the director on this film parlays this into other work in the Conjuring. This is the director of the Conjuring 3. So it feels like in some way, I wonder if he's like a Wan protege. I didn't really look that up.
Which makes his comments about this one, him not wanting to make this part of the franchise, even weirder.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, I don't want this one to be part of it, but I'll direct some if you want me to. I mean,
right.
If you want to pay me for those, I guess it's part of the Conjuring universe now.
But to be clear, if you're pals with James Wan, and this movie, I think it's the writing that tanks this movie. The direction's fine. Mm-hmm. It's a competently made film, technically, all around.
And there are moments that
sound design is fine,
look pretty fun. Like there are moments like the scene where they're going through the house at the beginning. I fucking love that shit. Like, I love anytime a horror movie that takes place in a house and both of the first 2 Conjuring movies do this, and I kind of love that they do, where they just give you like a shot or a scene that just takes you through the house so you know where everything is. And so you have the spatial geography and the reasoning when the chases start happening later in the movie, because it's a haunted house movie. Those are coming. And James Wan loves those. Like, he'll put in those I think he does it in Malignant too. Like, he puts in those shots that kind of take you through the entire house so that you know exactly where everything is, so that when you need to know where it is, it's all right there. And I love that he does it. I'm a sucker for any filmmaker that just very clearly and without stopping the movie to do it, lets you know where you are and what the limitations of the space are. And the movies that don't do that, I think, suffer as a result. Like Alien 3 is a good example of that. Like, Fincher just does not do the work to give you the spatial geography of that space, which is a big old bummer.
Huge bummer.
I would agree.
Speaking of a bummer, should we talk about the plot, you guys?
Let's do it.
Fucking guess.
The sooner we do that, the sooner we can get to the numbers, Brett. We're just chugging along. We're moving this train forward, trying to get to our destination, man.
Episode by numbers, this one. So while you pull out the D6 of Destiny, Brett, I will explain to the listener what this is. This is the part of the show where we, at the behest of the D6 of Destiny, will recount the plot of the movie that we're watching, 2019's The Curse of La Llorona, in 60 seconds or less. Brett will roll the die. He will assign 2 sides to each of us, and based on the way that it rolls, we'll determine which of us will be recounting that plot. We'll give the 10 and 30-second warnings. But Brett, who is what and who will be presenting today?
I don't fucking know. I'll be 1 and 2. Tucker can be 3 and 4. You can be 5 and 6. Let's fucking do it. It is a 4.
Son of a bitch. I don't know what happened in this movie. All right.
No one does.
Let's do it. Somebody put some time.
I'm getting 60 seconds on the clock presently.
Or something, or just do it off the top of your head. That's always fun.
Yeah, it's always fun if you don't remember it, if you do it off the top of your head. All right, I've got a minute on the clock. I'll give you the 30 and 10-second warnings, and the time starts when you do.
So there's this gal, and she has some kids, and she's a single mother, and she's a good mom, but like she can't do all the stuff, so sometimes it looks like she's not a great mom, and she's also a social worker. And she knows this lady who she social works, I guess is how you say that. I don't know. And she's got her kids in the closet, man. And it's real fucked up and scary shit's going on. And it turns out that they're being hunted down by La Llorona, which is this lady that like her kid died or something, or like somebody drowned. I don't know what happened in that first scene, but something happened and somebody died and she cries and shit. So she passes the curse to the lady's kids, and then the scary thing comes for him, and then
10 seconds.
At the end, the original lady kind of wises up and like, oh, that was dumb of me to like pass that on. What a shitty person I am, and throws the cross. And she idle hands is La Llorona, and she poofs into smoke from a cross.
Cool.
And it's real
you did
dumb.
It off the top of your head so bad you got the ending wrong. That's cool.
What happened? I thought it was. It wasn't that gal. Who was it?
Well, so first of all, you got La Llorona's lore wrong, or you didn't even know her lore.
I was going to say, I'm going to need you to get into La Llorona's lore.
I was doing my best with the facts that were presented to me.
Well, you also fell asleep. You probably fell asleep during that part. That's probably where you were sleeping. So
maybe, straight up maybe.
So La Llorona's lore is fairly similar to the folklore tale. I don't think it's really much different. It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Cool. Very beautiful Spanish woman. Is maybe vain. It's maybe not vain. It's a little vague there, but she thinks very highly of herself. And then when a very handsome suitor comes into her town, she decides this guy's worth my time. And they have a wonderful relationship, and they have a couple children. But as she grows older, this man's a piece of shit. Is like, I'm going to get with somebody younger because you're old now. So she cheats on La Llorona with this younger woman, which drives La Llorona crazy. And she decides, I'm going to punish this motherfucker by killing his kids. So she drowns both of her children in the river, realizes what she's done, and kills herself. In the process of killing herself, becomes a corrupted, dark spirit who is now looking to replace her dead kids with your kids if you get on the wrong side of her. So,
as one does.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
So,
it's
the way rational people do. Yeah,
standard demon shit. Yeah.
Well, she's not a demon. She's a dark spirit. There's a difference.
Okay.
Don't make Brett break down that lore.
I mean, look, one is clearly from hell,
obviously
produced by the devil, and another one is. So another one is just like an evil spirit. Like something really terrible happened to a spirit, and it got real angry, and is a vengeful spirit is what you're probably
something strange in your neighborhood, you might say.
Yes, something strange going on. Something's wrong. Gloom in the room. Outside in the storm.
Outside's the storm. All alone in the crib. Sorry.
Yeah.
We had a moment.
Thank you, Tucker. I can always count on you to finish a Ghostbusters 2 quote.
Yes.
But no. So the ending you got wrong is that. Here's the weird thing. This is another part of the logic of this movie I don't understand. There is a point where our protagonist is fighting La Llorona in her pool, and manages to pull off a piece of jewelry from her and take it with her.
Maybe that.
The MacGuffin, if you will.
It is a MacGuffin. We can call it that. There's a few MacGuffins.
It is introduced in the first scene of the film.
Correct.
What was it? Maybe it was. I don't remember.
Yeah. No, it's like they draw attention to it, and she says something like, "I will keep this" or something. I will always keep
straight up forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so
even I remember that.
Kind of makes it even worse. So they use that against her at the end to sort of stall her for a second and turn her back to normal as she's looking at this bit of jewelry. Meanwhile, I'm going, it's been a part of her. Why would you be able to use it against her?
Yeah.
Like, it's her own jewelry. Why would she care?
It's like, it's her totem. It's her talisman. Yeah.
Like, if anything, it would make her pissed off that you have it, and she would want it back.
Correct.
but that doesn't work because um, she looks at herself in a mirror, and that makes her evil again.
As it does.
So
as it does for all of
course.
us. I mean, look, I turn a little more evil every time I look at myself in a mirror.
You guys,
so,
look in my glasses. You guys are getting even more evil. Look in my glasses.
No.
How much more evil you're getting?
Getting evil all the time.
Evil all the way down.
But so then they have to use, and this is the part of the lore I really dig, which is kind of like I kind of like the last 30 minutes or so. Is the our former priest, I don't know what else to refer to him as. They call him something, but it was a Spanish word. I don't remember what it is. Excuse me.
His name is Raphael, and the actor's name is Raymond Cruz.
That guy. I don't remember.
And he's cool but rude, you might say.
Yes.
Give me a break.
Correct. But so he says that when La Llorona, which is part of her lore, so I kind of forgot this, when La Llorona was drowning her kids, there was a tree nearby that had red leaves that bloom off of it that made it look like it was on fire. So they call it a fire tree.
That also appears in the first scene of the film.
Yes.
Chekhov's red tree.
Yeah. And they say that since it was the only living thing that was witness to her sin, you can use it against her. So he uses the leaves from a fire tree to protect the house, that she can't cross, like salt for a demon. She can't cross a line of fire tree leaves.
Oh, yeah, because I remember when that lady kicked it, and she was like, fuck y'all, bonk. And like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
And the cross that he has is carved from a fire tree. So that's what they use to kill her. Maybe kill her. I don't know. Maybe the sequel, if a sequel ever happens, probably not completely dead.
I was going to say, I can't imagine that they're going to look again, like with all horror movies, they leave it open. Like, yes, you can hear La Llorona crying at the end of the credits, like as if to say she's not really gone anywhere.
Like the baby on the bus, man. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. So they stab her with that, and she unravels and maybe dies.
Poofs.
I mean, it is a little bit more than a poof. It is a little bit cooler than a poof, to be fair. She like unravels and like
I was gonna say the unraveling is a pretty cool effect.
It's a black goo.
Essentially a poof.
The black goo.
A complicated poof.
A poof by any other name.
So, but like that's the cool part I like about the last part of this movie is like they bring in some lore. There's a guy that's using it to fight an evil spirit. I wish it had been like when he blesses the pool. I wish that's such a cool concept that I wish would have been more than just him touching the water and looking really like serious for a second.
Right. Because I don't think I don't think that's how you make holy water if you're a priest. And I don't know if you're no longer a priest. I don't know if you still have the ability to make holy water.
Well, no, Stephen. He did say he turned his back on the church. He would never turn his back on God.
Yes.
Huzzah.
So
and I bonded with him in that moment. I
LOL,
did.
yeah. For sure.
So you could totally fight evil spirits and demons now. You should do that.
I don't
fighting evil hunting things. Make that your new family.
Stephen, even I'm ordained. So come on, man.
I look, I was never actually ordained.
Oh man, I totally win then. Fuck yeah. I'm going to be officiating a wedding in about a month.
Are you ordained by like an actual church, or is it like one of those online churches?
I am ordained by the Universal Life Church. And it's free to get ordained by the Universal Life Church.
Got it.
And it is 100% legal and it's 100% legit. But here's how they get you. Let me tell you how they get you, Stephen. How they get you is they'll ordain you for free, and it's official. It's totally legit. But if you want any kind of proof that you are ordained, you got to pay like $35 for like a certificate and shit. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's fine though. Like I'm really excited about doing this wedding. I really like the people that I'm going to be marrying. Like they're good friends of mine. So fuck it. $35 is a small price to pay to be able to do that for them. So
and look, I mean, a lot of times people pay their officiant, so you can make that up in whatever they pay. You just be like, yeah, just pay for my credentials.
No, man, I love those ladies. I would never make them pay for that.
Fair enough. Fun fact, a former boss of Brett and I was ordained in the Dudist church. He is a Dudist priest.
Oh, that's rad.
From which is the church based on the Coen brothers film The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, fun story. My one marriage was officiated by a Dudist priest.
Oh, word. That's pretty rad.
That tracks weirdly. Yeah.
I'm way into that.
Yeah. Too bad that marriage didn't last, but that's story for another time.
Not really the fault of the officiant. Let's be
not at all.
Some do, some don't. You're talking to 3 divorced white heterosexual men right now. Don't you ever forget it.
Yep.
Don't you ever forget it.
Yep.
Yes.
Gosh, those chips are stacking up on these shoulders, but they're
man. We're so oppressed. LOL. I'm kidding. We're not. We're the least.
No,
we're not.
There's no chip on the shoulder anymore. I'm perfectly happy in my current relationship.
Yeah. No, same.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Girl, me too. With myself. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't know if I want to high five that hand.
Oh no, that's not the hand.
It's the other hand. Okay. Good to know.
Got it.
But last time it wasn't that hand. So.
All right. Thank you.
I'm ambidextrous. I don't know what to tell you. Like, what am I supposed to do?
I don't know why you are telling us, quite frankly.
I can't choose because you asked.
I didn't though.
We didn't ask. We just made a reference to it.
We made it.
Can you read back 30 seconds ago, please? And
this is the part where Tucker this is the part where Tucker inserts the part from previous in the recording and just puts the audio, just drops
Except
it.
Except he won't, because that didn't happen. So
I guess
exactly.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we will. I guess we will. Or more accurately, I guess we'll hear, won't we?
Or at the very least, I'll find other clips of you guys saying those words like in different contexts and put them together. You'll sound like Chef on that episode they put together after he left.
Yeah,
it's just like different words.
Of course, like children.
But anyway, so we don't know if you could actually make holy water if you're not an official priest anymore, but I feel like God is the one
I could
that
probably
does
Google that,
not the church. Either way, I don't really think you could just lay hands on a thing of water and make it holy, but whatever.
I don't know. The way I look at it, since I don't believe in any of that shit, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, true.
Like I can bless whatever I want because I don't really there are no rules for me because I don't believe in any of it.
According to WikiHow, in many religious traditions, including Catholicism and some pagan traditions, yes, holy water is created by combining water with salt. Typically, the salt and water must both be ritually consecrated, either together or separately, in order for the water to be considered holy. So I think it goes beyond just touching it with an earnest constipation face.
So wait, is that? Do you think that's why the Great Salt Lake and what's the Mormon guy's name? Like John Smith or something? Is
Joseph
that seriously
Smith.
His name? Okay, I was like, holy
Joseph Smith.
So is
so
that
close.
Why he chose the Great Salt Lake? Because
Probably.
holy water or whatever?
Maybe. Or maybe they just made it to Utah and went, you know what? Far enough.
This is fine, I guess.
I mean, that explains why it's always really good against demons and evil spirits because of the salt content.
Yeah, salt, Supernatural. They always have the salt in their shotguns. Rock salt, dude. Yeah.
And they're always putting salt on thresholds and whatnot.
Yeah,
Michael Madsen also puts rock salt in his shotgun in Kill Bill Volume 2.
Damn right
he does. Shoots Uma Thurman in the chest with it. And then buries her alive. And then she digs herself out and then kills him.
She does the Bruce Lee 1 inch punch.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Boy, I liked that movie when it came out, but I just don't think I'd enjoy it as much now. And I'd rather just remember how much I enjoyed it before.
At some point I'm going to do a complete Tarantino retrospective, and it'll probably be right before whatever his quote unquote last movie is going to be. But
word. Jackie Brown is where it's at for me.
Jackie Brown is so good.
I have enjoyed all of his films at certain times in my life, but I don't really care too much about any of them anymore, except for Jackie Brown. that one will never get old for me.
The three of his that continue to vie for top spot for me are Inglourious Bastards, Jackie Brown, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. At any point in time, any of those films is going to be 1, 2, or 3 at any given point.
Word.
So
yeah. I think mostly the reason that I don't care about any of his other films anymore is because every time that Quentin Tarantino does something, the industry follows it. And so you'll get a lot of clones
regardless
out
of whether
there.
they understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where the market gets oversaturated. So the thing that originated it, it kind of takes a little bit of the shine off of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah. No, I absolutely get it.
I'm just a Pulp Fiction guy, really. Otherwise, I don't care much.
I mean, when I was in college,
and enjoy Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I love Pulp Fiction. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But I mean, when I was in college, I was all in on Reservoir Dogs. So
that one's scrappy. I like it.
It is
scrappy as hell.
It's not bad. And I mean, Kill Bill's great. But,
Kill Bill's incredible. I saw that one in theaters, like both volumes.
I saw the double feature, man. I didn't see the first volume because I knew they were going to show a double feature at the theater I was going to see it at.
There you
go. I waited till the second one came out, watched the double feature. The person who put the film together accidentally cut the reel that had the fight between Daryl Hannah and Uma Thurman, accidentally cut it backwards. So all of a sudden, it's that scene running backwards. We're like,
you get to watch her shove her eye in her face.
Well, yeah. Well, we're like, you know, it's Quentin Tarantino. Maybe this is just the movie. We've already had anime in this. So so it took everybody about 10 minutes to kind of agree, you know, I think something's wrong here. Like, we should maybe talk to someone. So it took them like 20 minutes to fix it. And like, honestly, I should have just went up there and done it myself because I could have done it in about 5. But
yeah, no doubt.
Whatever. Yeah. And then it went off without a hitch after that. It was just really weird because we were like, oh, it's going backwards now. That's cool. That's a weird choice. Way into it.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. If Tarantino did that,
something's wrong here.
Yeah. If Tarantino did that, we would just accept it. So no, I absolutely get it. And he's one of those guys who will just try shit. And for all you know, it's an homage to some movie that came out in the 70s that he just has had stuck in his craw for the last 50 years. So
yeah. Yeah. You know what movie is not going to get stuck in the crawl of anyone ever?
The Curse of La Llorona?
Which one more cool thing about the lore they did here is I did like how he took La Llorona's tears, consecrated them, and turned them into an anti-venom to hurt her with. I thought that was really fucking cool too.
I mean, the things that character does are really interesting. Just this movie doesn't really give them the space or the attention that they need, I feel.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. Is like there's these little cool bits of lore and stuff that, you know, is all, like I keep saying, contained to pretty much the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Right.
But even then, only like 15 to 20 of that is the cool stuff I liked.
Right.
But that's it. Like I could not give 2 shits about the rest of the movie.
Right.
Because I mean, I already knew the folklore tale of La Llorona. Like if I hadn't, I guess that'd have been cool to learn about. But and the connection to the Conjuring universe is cool. I do love a shared universe. I'm always into that.
Always.
It's your jam, yeah.
Yeah, but the rest of it is just actively mediocre, insults my intelligence, and is just boring.
Yeah, I enjoyed enough of this franchise when I watched this franchise entirely during the pandemic. One of the many franchises that I watched during the pandemic. I think I watched like close to 20 different franchises during the pandemic, and this was one of them. And I think I enjoyed about roughly half of it. I think there are probably 4 or 5 decent to good movies. If that, maybe let's say 3 or 4 decent to good movies in this franchise, and the rest are just kind of bad. Including the first 2 Annabelle films, if I'm being really honest. The only good Annabelle film is the 3rd one, and it's maybe my second or third favorite movie in this franchise. Like, I also really think The Nun is really fun. But this is absolutely at the bottom of my Conjuring rankings. Like if I were to post, and I might post it on social media this week, just my rankings of the Conjuring franchise, this one is dead last, all the way at the bottom with a bullet.
With a bullet.
And it's not even close. Like this movie is just aggressively, at best, it's mediocre. And the things in it that push past mediocre are just brought down by the overwhelming mediocrity of the rest of it.
Yeah.
You guys, here in New England, we would refer to this movie as garbage. Fucking garbage. It's garbage.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
As the fellow once said, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah. Such a better movie. Wish we were watching that movie.
God, one of these days we are actually gonna have to cover the RoboCop remake.
Please, I love that movie, you guys. I love it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think whenever we do that month, we
It's
also
good.
need to do an unfranchised on RoboCop 3 and get Brian Kuiper in to talk about it because he's our resident Fred Decker guy.
Okay, and
So.
yeah. Now, I know I've asked this question before, but I can't remember the answer. There were live-action RoboCop TV shows that I think are in the same continuity, so that doesn't count. It has to be movies, right?
Yes.
And TV movies don't count? Okay.
No.
Because that show was kind of dope.
Are they
Like, for the
TV
budget they
movies
had?
or is it just a series?
Kind of both. Each episode is an hour and a half. It's kind of like
God.
Sherlock, where you have like 3 episodes in a series, but they're all feature length.
I did not think that happened.
It's called Prime Directive.
Oh God, RoboCop Prime Directives from 2001. Yep. I did not even know this was a thing.
Yep.
We should get on this pretty soon. The new RoboCop video game is coming out this month.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Called RoboCop Rogue City for all major consoles.
Okay.
Yes,
interesting.
It is. Yeah, an hour and 35 minutes. One of the episodes. The first episode. The second episode is an hour.
4
and 35
episodes,
minutes.
a total of 6
length.
hours. So yeah,
they're feature length. Yeah.
Now we get to talk about the infamous RoboCop versus Terminator video game.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be a movie. Started as a comic,
and we could talk about RoboCop showing up in Mortal Kombat as well, and Peter Weller coming back to voice him.
Yeah.
And we can talk about how
there's also a blank check Easter egg in the RoboCop screen. I think it's is it the RoboCop or the Terminator screen? There's one of the developers on the game was a blankie. And so he put like all of the producer Ben's nicknames in the readout for like when you win the game with, I think it's RoboCop. Like when you win the game, it lists like the.
I think that was Terminator. I think. That
was it Terminator?
Yeah,
okay, they've covered both of those on that podcast, so I could see it going either way.
Though, look, we could definitely do an Oops All Video Game corner on RoboCop as well, even though we wouldn't, we could do a whole thing there because we'd have the remake for the main feed. This is definitely band meeting stuff, but who cares about this movie? We could do the
We're
remake.
pretty much talking about it. We just got to wrap it up at this point.
Right?
So yeah,
live production meeting on. We're just padding out the runtime here
with RoboCop, and then also an unfranchised. That would be rad as shit.
Yeah.
And that could be a month where we could put a Patreon show on the main feed to give them kind of a sample, even though we do have a 7-day trial. So please sign up for our 7-day trial and forget to, cancel. Please. That's patreon.com/disenfranchpod.
Save me from having to do that plug later, but I still will anyway.
So about them numbers, Steven, tell us about
how
the
did
numbers.
Do with the box office?
Tell us about the numbers.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Say hi to your mother.
Yeah. So this movie came out in, God, what was it? September of 2000? No, August
19?
of 20. April. God, let me try that again.
Same thing.
This movie came out in April of 2019, April 19th, 2019. It was. Let me actually pull up the weekend box office.
Real bad.
It is real bad. Money. However, it did make money though. That's the thing.
Good for them.
It did make some money. Here's the thing, and that's what I was saying earlier. Like, one of the reasons why horror is so consistent and why it's a good idea for studios to have a horror division and continue to make horror movies is that you can make those things on the cheap and they make bank. Like, they make good
and
money.
You know what? I fucking hated this movie, but get that money. You know, I don't dislike the people involved with this movie. Just because they made a shitty movie doesn't mean that like I'm against them as people. Get that money. Take that money.
And this movie does open at number 1 at the box office for this weekend.
Good for them.
It opens to $26.4 million, or $0.3 rather, $million. In second place is Shazam, the first Shazam movie in its third weekend, which actually, you know what? Good movie. I like Shazam.
It was fine.
In third place, a movie called Breakthrough in its second weekend. In fourth place, not Shazam, but a movie called Captain Marvel, up from sixth place the week before.
I liked that one.
In its seventh weekend. And in fifth place, a movie called Little. What if someone was little? I don't know what that movie is.
It's cool. We don't need to know. Moving on.
Oh, it's that Tyler Perry movie where it's a body swap comedy. And so that's our top 5. In sixth place, Tim Burton's Dumbo. In seventh place, the remake of Pet Sematary. In eighth place, I
kind of liked that.
Jordan Peele's Us.
That one was pretty good too.
Ninth place, the Leica film Missing Link. And in 10th place, future episode of this podcast, the 2019 reboot of Hellboy.
Oh, I do need to see that, I guess.
I mean, we'll watch it eventually. So this movie opens, like we said, to, what did we say, about $24 million. It goes on to gross about $54 million domestically. So not a great multiplier, but still, on a $9 million budget, you make back over twice what you paid for the movie in your opening weekend. You're doing
not bad. That's an okay investment.
Yeah, almost 3 times as much, actually. And then your international, you earn another $68.4 million internationally. So that you're over 100 million in the worldwide box office. 123
about 125 million.
Yeah, 123.1 million is the final total there. In terms of the Conjuring franchise as a whole, it should surprise no one that this is the lowest grossing, both domestic and worldwide. The only other one that even comes close is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which comes out, of course, when the pandemic is still raging in June of 2021. So, that one obviously not going to pull in the bank that the others had. So this one came out before the pandemic, so no excuse really, but it still does not do particularly well. The tomatometer score is a 28%. The critics' consensus, content to coast on jump scares rather than tap into its story's creepy potential, The Curse of La Llorona arrives in theaters already broken, which, you know what?
That's accurate.
Very accurate. Like this could just be called Jump Scares and Missed Opportunities, the movie. And it would be accurate. The Metascore is a 40.
Jump scares too. Bad jump scares. None of them were worth a damn. Not a single one.
Cheap jump scares.
Yep.
Metascore on this one's a 41. Mixed or average reviews based on 28 critics. And the Letterboxd score, I'm going to have to refresh my Letterboxd because it is not cooperating with me right now, is a 1.9. Tucker, out of 5 possible stars, how are you ranking 2019's The Curse of La Llorona?
1 star for my boy Curtis Mayfield. I'm pouring out a little for him right now. I guess I'll have to clean that up tomorrow.
Right on. Brett, what about yourself?
Well, real quick, that reminded me of another little gripe I had, is that at the end, he's talking about how she thrives in darkness, and they're trying to just wait it out till the morning, but she showed up during the day earlier in the movie. Why the fuck does that matter? Yeah. I give it 1.5 stars.
Which is what I give it as well. I also give it 1.5 stars. Again, I can't just give it one because you got Linda Cardellini and Raymond Cruz doing the Lord's work in this movie. So
that plus the little bit of lore stuff I liked. There's
your 3.5 stars. Yeah.
Just acting their little butts off the whole time.
And you know what? Again, they're better than this movie deserves. They really, really are.
Yeah.
Even Patricia Velasquez. Like, I don't like that character worth a damn, but I think she's doing a fine job. Like, she's doing the best she can with what she's got to work with. And I think that's true of everybody in this movie. They're really trying. They're doing their best with what they have. Unfortunately, what they have is not all that good.
There's nothing. It's nothing there.
Right. Which is a real fucking shame. But yeah, so that is the Curse of La Llorona. So yeah, there we go. And hey, why don't you, while you're sitting here giving us a listen, why don't you check out our Patreon, patreon.com/disenfranchpod, where you can find hours of content back there, as well. Our weekly show, What Are We Watching? The shows that we mentioned in our little impromptu team meeting there. The Oops All Video Game Corner, Unenfranchised, Disenfranchised. There are so many options. So many.
And it's all organized now. Organized now. You could go through like a series in a couple days.
Tucker went through and organized it all for us. So if you just want to listen to Disenfranchised for a while, do it. If you want to listen to Unenfranchised for a while, do it. You can. If you want to hit the Christianity Corner, which is my little show behind the paywall, you can hit up all 3 episodes of that. I swear I wanted to do one on The Exorcist when Billy Friedkin died, and I don't know that anyone else was super into that, but
I'd be into it. Now, here's the deal. I think there's another Exorcist movie coming out.
There is, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, the David Gordon Green one.
Believer.
Maybe we could arrange something, Steven.
We do have to make the caveat to those listening that Oops All Christianity Corner is not glorifying Christianity in any way. If anything, it's the opposite.
I've been a pastor. I have been a Bible teacher for many, many years. And the current state of the evangelical church is disgusting. So that's why I bonded with the main character of this movie when he says, turn back on the church. Yes. On God, never. And I was like, hey, man, I can get with that. So
right on.
Meanwhile, Tucker and I hate organized religion altogether.
Just godless heathens, the two of us.
I might believe in reincarnation, maybe, but other than that, I don't know. Nothing. That's fine.
I only believe in myself.
So
then
don't worry. Oops All Christianity Corner is a fun time.
It is. And look, we all have a good time. We goof. We and you know what? If you want to hear us just like punching down for a while, listen to our episode, our Christmas episode last year on Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas.
Oh, fuck that motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just like an hour and a half of us just punching down. It's great.
Good. But it's on somebody who deserves it.
It is.
And fight me if you think he doesn't. Straight up fight me. I'm right here. You know where I live. Come get me. Fight me.
If you don't, email us and he might tell you.
We can meet
Kirk.
at a public location. Yeah, let's
fucking bring it, Kirk. Your name is Kirk.
Oh, come on. Come on, Growing Pains. Let's go.
You could also shoot us an email, disenfranchpod@gmail.com. That's where you can let Tucker know. Ask Tucker for his address if you want to go fist fight him over this.
Let's do it.
He's down to clown. You shoot us an email over there. Let us know if there's a movie you want to see us cover at some point. But yeah, let us know how you think we're doing. Or just say hi. We'd like to hear from you guys. Just say hi. You can find us on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Facebook and Threads at disenfranchpod. Also, while you're out on the World Wide Web, swing by Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Leave us a nice big old 5-star rating and review. Don't just rate us, but review us as well. We always appreciate hearing from you guys. We love to hear why you enjoy the show, and that helps other people find our show as well. I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky, and Threads at Chewy Walrus. Brett, where can we find you on the socials these days?
I'm told it's called Blueski. I am available on...
It is Blueski.
It's spelled with a Y, not an I. It's blue sky.
All right.
Y's are weird vowels that can go either way.
English is a weird language.
It also that. I'm available on Instagram and Letterboxd. That's sus_warlock.
Tucker?
You guys, we're so fucking stupid. Do you know how I rented this movie and we all coordinated to watch it at separate times?
Mm-hmm.
This motherfucker's been on Max the whole time.
Bitches.
The whole time.
Oh, yeah, the whole franchise is on Max. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I spent $4 on this.
I don't know why it didn't come up when I searched for it then, but yeah.
$4. Anyway, you can find me on YouTube at Ice909. That's ICENINE, the number 0 and the number 9. That's where you can find kind of a retrospective of my career as a musician from the last 20 to 25 years. I also have a preservation project where I'm uploading 45s and LPs that are not available digitally on the internet that the copyright has lapsed on. So that those things can be preserved for everyone to enjoy if they want to. I'm also on Instascam at Tuck_mugs. That's where I put up my mugs, man. And we just had my bestest friend in the whole world, Jimmy, just submitted a mug.
He did.
And that's when he sent that to me. I told him to send it to the disenfranchised email. Jimmy doesn't listen so well. He's kind of like me, like about 30% of what you say sticks and the rest just shoots out the other ear. But anyway, he emailed it to me.
That tracks with my experience, yes.
He emailed it to me, and when I saw the mug, I was like, oh, I'm going to be that mug. Yeah, because we used to live together, and we're like bros and shit. So, like, anyway.
It says Arizona on it, yeah.
The team over at Tuck Mugs is hard at work on new content. Mugs of my own.
Working, yeah.
Plus guest mugs. Like, the reason we have such a big team for Tuck Mugs is we have to figure out not only what mugs to put out, but when to do it. Like, we strategically drop these mugs. It's not all willy-nilly.
It's curated.
Like,
it's curated.
There's dozens of people working on this. It's a scientific process. So if that sounds like
one,
yeah,
I've submitted one.
Even popped a selfie of himself on his. He's in his face.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're ever wondering what Steven looks like, and for some reason you can't find his face anywhere else, Tuck Mugs.
I just told you where to find me on Instagram, so there's really no excuse. Although most of what I post on Instagram is just food, but yeah.
So Tuck's Mugs. I think I'd like to change. I'm going to talk to the team about changing the name of it to just Tuck Mugs, because I think I like that rolls off the tongue better than Tuck's Mugs.
Okay.
Too many S's there. So
which is to say 2.
We'll call a meeting, Steven. Let's say 9 a.m. in the morning. We'll talk with the team about that.
Yeah, I might be in bed, but yeah.
Table it for now. We'll circle back tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. Just whenever
we'll have to get the whole Pacific Coast contingent, and that's going to be a whole mess.
Yeah. And we got people
we want to schedule that for later in the week to make sure everyone's got the time blocked out. But
we've got European consultants we'd have to talk to, so
absolutely,
it's just a whole big thing.
To say nothing about Taipei. So yeah,
I mean, how can you forget Taipei?
Jeez, how did you forget Taipei? Jeez,
I didn't. I just hadn't mentioned it yet. Okay, it was implied. Right. I feel like
some of our biggest stockholders, and you've insulted them.
It's true. Yep.
God, I hope they're not listening right now.
Right. Anyway,
at any rate, this has been our sesquicentennial spectacular on the 2019 Curse of La Llorona. It is the beginning of season 4. We've got some fun stuff coming up in season 4. We got Spooky-thon coming next month, and we've got a special theme or mini series that we're doing in December. We've got some fun stuff planned for the rest of this year and into the rest of season 4. So buckle up, babies, because it's gonna get wild. In the meantime, you can find us at all those places we just mentioned. But yeah, this has been the Disenfranchised Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy, for my co-hosts, Brett Wright and Tucker. Until next time. Dun, 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 dun. La Llorona.